Thank you. All right, so tonight's daf, Samach Gimel, not the easiest daf in the world. Not the easiest daf in the world. It's all about, again, continuing what the parak's about, but basically, the Samach Gimel is all about shlichus. Now, we said yesterday, because we left off with the Gemara, the Gemara that said that the matter of Gemara's question was, can the man, when he makes a shliach for the get, he's making the shliach a shliach to send the get to somebody. When a woman's making a shliach, she's making a shliach to accept, right? So we had a shaila: can the man do the shlichus for the woman? Can the woman do the shlichus for the man? And we ended up saying everybody can do a shlichus for each other. Question is, can they switch the shlichus in the middle? Right? Can they switch the shlichus or flip the shlichus, where the man can say, I want you to be the shliach to be makabel the wife's get, and can the wife say, I just want you to be a shliach to send to bring the get? Now, I think I said something wrong in yesterday's daf, because like, who cares as long as she receives the get, right? I have to start using that. As long as she receives the get, what's the difference? Who brings the get? A monkey could bring it, right? But that's not the case, because I forgot that you need Masira. You need to hand the get. The get needs to be handed from the husband to the wife. So, and if they're not going to do it from hand to hand, then you need to have a shliach, right? So that's the problem. So if the man can make the shliach, can make the woman the shliach, or that was yesterday's daf, or the man could make the shliach and say to the shliach, I want you to be in place of my wife. Or the wife can say, I want the shliach to be the one to bring it. Meaning, so if you can do that, fine. If you can't do that, you're going to have a problem, right? Because then there's going to be no masira miyad liyad. Fine. So now that's background number one for tonight's stuff. Background number two for tonight's stuff. There's a machlokes in Bava Metzia, where let's say the shliach changes the directions of the person sending him. Right? Let's say he changes the directions, and then the one who's receiving the directions sort of says, "Okay, I'll go along with you," but we don't know if the guy really was understanding the shlichus properly or not. So do we go with that or not? Those are the basic two rules that we're going to try handling. So the main thing is that we have to know before the daf is that the shliach lahaylacha and shliach lekabbalah. The default is that the man is making the shlichus to send, and the woman's doing the shlichus to accept. The question is if they meet somewhere in the middle. So Itmar, we're 4 lines up from the bottom. So Itmar, Havili Gitti, right? If he says, I'm sorry, she says, bring me my get. But the shliach, there's a lot missing from the actual words here. But the shliach says to the husband, your wife told me, take the get. So he changed it. She said, haveli giti, and the shliach said, hiskabeli giti. So now that's somewhere in the middle. Hiskabel means that's what the shliach is supposed to do. Get the get, receive the get on my behalf. Haveli giti is to bring it. That's in no man's land. Then the husband hears this, and the terminology is bothering him, but he says, here's the get, Halach, here's the get, Kamasha Amra, whatever she said. So the question is, what did he mean by that? Rav Nachman B'Shem Rav Aravus, in the name of Rav, says, even if she ends up with the get, she receives the get, no good. Right? Well, so let's see what's a pshat. The Gemara says, Adibura dideka sama. The husband is going on the dibur of the shliach. Now the shliach said, be makabelit. He wants to be makabelit. The woman said, bring it to me. Dia dibura dida comes sama. Because if the husband is going with her dibur, the other mia tigarish. Once the get gets to his hand, she's divorced. Again, she told the shliach, bring me the get, right? Which is not really enough She didn't tell him to be makabel. He went to tell the husband, I'm supposed to be makabel. So the husband gives it to him and says whatever she wants. So he's saying it's not a get. Why shouldn't it be a get? Right? If you hold that he's agreeing to what she says, so then once the get gets to her, once she receives the get, then she should be fine. Right? So therefore, must be that he's going with the shliach. So Rav Ashi, Hachi Hashta. Rav Ashi says, no, it can't be. Hachi Hashta. On Tamar Aleph now. If it was said the opposite, which is what the woman said is kabali giti, take my get from me, which unto itself should be a kosher get, right when the shliach accepts the get on the woman's behalf. But the what's it called? What do you call it? Shliach says that the wife said, "Bring me my get, not be makabelit." For who amar halach kamasha amra, and the husband says, "Take it and do whatever she said, whatever she meant." Or amarav kimin shagia get liyadai migoreshes. Once the get goes to his hand, not her hand, his hand meaning the shliach's hand, then she's divorced. Right. So if that's the way the Gemara would have said it, then it would make sense. Then that means that the husband is relying on what she said, right? Inami, or another way that it could have gone down was adibura didei kasamach. He's the husband's going on the shliach's word. Elahacha, but here, I mean, that's if you would have switched the case. And the wife would have said, accept the get. And the shliach said, I'm bringing the get to her. Then you'd be able to say that. Elahacha. Right? But the case here was, what happened here is that the shliach uprooted his shlichus. The shliach said, I'm a shliach to be makabel her get. But I'm not a shliach to bring her the get. Right? So meaning his shlichus, he basically knocked out his shlichus. Right? Meaning his shlichus was supposed to be makabel the get.
Did he get the get?
He got the get.
So then what's the problem?
Because he changed his shlichus from a shliach from Kabbalah to a shliach to bring it. Right? Meaning it's very technical. It's very technical. Meaning she said to him, be a shliach to bring me the get. Not to be makabel the get, bring me the get.
Oh, that's not okay.
No, the Gemara is swapping both the cases both ways. So the way Rav Nachman said it was she told him, bring me the get. Not be makabel the get, bring it to me. Now, l'chara, that shouldn't work. It's a whole machlokes rishonim. Exactly, does that work? Would that not work? Because Lamaisa, there's no handle from the husband to the wife. If she makes him a shliach just to bring her the get, where's the handoff from the husband to the wife? There isn't. She didn't ask him to makabel it. So she asked him just to bring it. He switched it and he said, I'm supposed to be makabel it. So he knocked out his original shlichus. So that's why the get is not a get. Not because we said that the husband goes with the word of the wife. Okay, so the Gemara, we don't have a proof. Okay, so then the Gemara asks on that. If a guy says, here's the husband talking now. He says to a shliach, be makabel this get from my wife. Or bring this get to my wife. So if he wants to go and catch the shliach before he gives it to the wife, he can do it. Time the ratza. What's the reason? Right? Because he wants to. Get. But let's say he does not want to take back this get, then the get's a get. How does the husband, we discussed this based on the Mishnah yesterday, how does the husband go make a shlichus for a wife to be makabelit? Has nothing to do with him. Again, the husband's shlichus is to send the get. The wife's shlichus is to accept the get. This is a case where the husband said to a shliach, be makabel the get from my wife. That's none of his business. He can't go telling a shliach, be makabel this get from my wife. That means any guy could go over and shul. The guy wants to divorce his wife. He can go over and shul and tell the guy, hey, I just wrote up a get. Take this from my wife. And the wife will have no idea. She'll know nothing about it. right? So what's a pshat? Ella amrinan. What are we going to say? That can't be the case. Kivan shenosan ein of legarsha, since he put his eyes to divorce her. Meimar Amar, he says, Tigarish kol megarish. She should be divorced whichever way, right? Which is not so. It's meaning the only way to understand that case is, yeah, he told the shliach that he should be makabel to get on behalf of his wife. He didn't know what he was talking about, right? Meaning he really wanted to make the guy a shliach to send the get to the wife. He messed up the terminologies, right? So it must be that he had in mind that he's going to be the shliach for him.
Well, I don't understand.
I was waiting for you to ask Akiva. I was waiting. I said, well, how come Akiva hasn't asked the question yet on this?
No, just on this point, I want to be very specific here. In this case, we just said before, Mishum the Akri Shliach L'Shechuse. Who cares what the Baal wants? He could want all he wants, that the Shliach should do what he wants, Mimagarish any way possible. The Shliach doesn't want to. Shliach refusing to do that in the case of Nachman. So what's the Gemara's kasha?
I don't know. Is he refusing that, or he just said
that's how Rashi touched it up. He said, I don't want to be a Shliach L'Halacha. So even if the Baal wants to be Megarish with the
who learns it like that he doesn't want?
Yeah, Mishum the Akri Shliach L'Shechutzik L'Gamehu.
Yeah, but
he is Aikar Shliachus. So even if the Baal wants him to be a Shliach, he doesn't want to. He's not doing the bidding of the Baal or the Isha. He's done. He might be bringing it to her, but he's not doing Shliachus. That's the way that's the way Rashi touched the Rav Nachman's case. So if we already gave that as a teretz, what's the kasha from this brisa? The Shliach is Aikar. The Baal could want whatever he wants. Keep it doesn't matter. Shliach is Aikar Shliachus.
I hear.
Here it works.
Not according to Rav Nachman.
It's a Mishnah. What do you mean? You're not.
The case is not where the Shliach is Aikar, though. Here, the case, the Baal just made him a Shliach. There's no.
The Baal made him a Shliach LeKabbalah. The question is how.
The case before, the case is where the Shliach is Aikar Shliachus. He doesn't want to do a Shliachus. That's the difference. The case in the Brisa or the Mishnah, whatever it is, the Shliach never spoke out his mind about whether he wants to do a Shliachus or not. It's very simple chiluk.
I don't understand what you're asking. We tried bringing Uriah from Rav Nachman. It's not approved. Because
the Gemara is asking on Rav Nachman's din. The Gemara is asking on Rav Nachman's din.
Oh, we're trying to bring a riot to what the original Shiloh was.
No, we're bringing a riot. Against Rav Nachman's din.
Gentlemen, you can take this afterwards.
Yeah. The Mashgiach has spoken. Anyways, no, but okay, good. I hear what you're saying, Akiva, but let's just, it's a very technical thing, but basically what the Gemara is saying now is that the husband really meant to divorce. He meant to divorce her whichever way. He just botched it in the terminology. So Chanami, here too, once he put his eyes to divorce her, he says, I'm going to divorce her whichever way. Whatever the shliach says, he says it this way, gesund aid. He says it this way, and then he said it that way. Right? Memela, the get should be a good get. Why is Rav Nachman saying it's not a good get? So Gemara said you can't compare the two cases. Everybody knows that there's no such thing as shlichus to Kabbalah. Yeah. Should we take a poll on this daf if anybody here knew before the sugya, myself included, that there's no such thing as shlichus lekabbalah? Right? I don't know. But okay.
What does that mean?
Meaning I can't go tell a shliach that he should accept the get on behalf of my wife. Because what business do I have to make a guy a shliach for my wife?
I thought that was obvious. Only she can designate a shliach for her. You
Correct.
thought the other way?
Correct. No, but the Gemara is saying everybody knows that. Everybody knows that. Now, from the Gemara, the Mishnah makes it sound like it does work. At the Lashon, the terminology of the Mishnah makes it sound like it would work. Because the Gemara is saying it can't be.
But we learn things in Mishnahs often that sound one way, but
Correct. Hence the dropout rate. But okay. Anyways, so what the Gemara is saying now, everybody knows that a guy can't make a shliach make his buddy a shliach to be makabel a get for his life. Like we said before, then if that's the case, anybody could divorce anybody in the coffee room in yeshiva, right? Just go make the guy a shliach. Say, hey, take this get from my wife. So that can't be. But gomer v'nasan l'shem halacha. But when he said, when he was gomer in his das to l'shem halacha hacha toy, right? So I'm sorry, I did a run on. Adam yidei shein shlichus l'kabbalah v'gomer b'nasan l'shem halacha. He knows that there's no shlichus, and in his head, he just said that the shliach should accept the get of Eva's life. What he meant is he meant to bring it. Hacha toy, but here he just made a mistake, right? He just made a mistake, exactly what the shliach wanted. Fine. Amar Rava, a similar case. Toshima katana shomer eskavali giti. So a katana who we know has no das, right? A katana gets married. She goes and she tells a guy, "Go get my get. Go receive my get for me." Ain't a get. It's not a get. Actually, get liada. That's to get to her hand, right? Because she can't make a shliach. She doesn't have the das for that. But the bottom line is if the husband sends a shliach and gives the get to the katana, then it's a good get. V'amai.
No one sees she doesn't have das to make a shliach, but she has das to get married.
Well, it could be your father married her.
I know, but I'm
Okay.
saying it's-
So v'amai v'olav shliach lo yelach hashavya. The husband. I was waiting for that. V'olav shliach lo yelach hashavya. He didn't make the shliach to bring it. El amrinan kimin shenosan eino legasha. The only way to say the pshat is that once the husband put his eyes to divorce the wife, Meimar Omar, he could say tigarish kol hechad megasha. She should be divorced, whichever way it happens. He doesn't care how it happens. So do it in our case. Once he puts his eyes on her to divorce her, Meimar Omar, tigarish kol hechad megasha. She should be divorced in any way. So our answer is hachi hashta. Is this really true? Hasam adam yedei shein shlichus l'katan. A person knows that there's no such thing as shlichus l'katan. Everybody knows that. And he put in his head that when he said to bring the get, he meant that he's bringing the get to her. But again, in Rav Nachman's case, it's talking about where he made a mistake. Right? The shliach said that he's supposed to be a shliach to be makabelit, and the wife didn't ask him to be makabelit. The wife just asked him to bring it. So therefore, that doesn't work either. So Toshima, another kasha of Nachman Havili Giti. If the wife said, "Bring me a get," Ishtacha Amra Hiskabeli Giti, and the shliach says, "Bring me be makabel the get." So now the shliach messed it up. The wife just asked for the get to be brought to her. He went and said, "I'm being makabel the get." Again, the difference between the two is to bring the get to her. She's not divorced when the shliach gets the get, receives the get. When he says, "I'm makabel the get on behalf of your wife," then the second the get goes into the hands of the shliach, she's divorced, right? Hiskabel giti. Or if the husband said, the wife said, "I'm sorry, be makabel the get." Right? Both those are two opposite cases. And the husband says, "Haylech v'tenla, go give it to her, zachila, or be zeichin for skabala, or be mekabel. Ratza lachsa yachsa. If he wants, he could be chayzer on giving the get until the get gets to the wife's hands. Mishigia get liyada migoreshes, but once the get gets to her hands, then she's divorced. My love, kabbalah, halacha, halacha. Right. So again, we had both cases here. We had. She said, "Bring it to me," and he said, "I'm accepting it for her." Or she said, "Accept it for me," and he said, "I'm bringing it." So aren't we talking about where the Kabbalah went with the Kabbalah and the Halacha went with the Halacha? Right? So you see that the get Lamaisa is not a get until it gets to her hand. Right? So Gemara says, "Loi Kabbalah Halacha Halacha Kabbalah." It's not talking about where it was aligned, where halacha was with halacha and Kabbalah was Kabbalah. It's talking about where they swapped. A Kabbalah is halacha and halacha is Kabbalah. Fine. Kabbalah halacha, if it's Kabbalah, if the husband said Kabbalah to the guy who said halacha, then once it gets to the shliach's hands, it should be a get right away. Why does it have to get to the wife's? Must be, we hear from this, that it's going on his word. So where it says, no, there he said, this get is what is yours based on what you said. Hacha, right? That's what I'm not. Hacha Mika Amar. Did he say Mika Amar Le Halach Kama Kamash Amra? He didn't say that this is for you, right? And he just said either be makabalit or take it or bring it, whichever it was, right? So therefore, he didn't use that vague terminology. Okay, fine. Taner Rabbanan. So now the Gemara is going to ask, taking a little bit different road here, and the Gemara is going to say, is hiskabel and hoylech the same thing, right? So hiskabel giti. If the woman said, "Go accept my get for me," that I think would be the best way to touch it. The ishtacha amra, and the shliach says hiskabel li giti, right? And he said it the way it's supposed to be said. V'hu aimer. And the husband said, "Haylech v'senla, take it and give it to her." So again, the shliach did exactly what he was told by the wife, but the husband didn't say accept it for her. He said, "Bring it to my wife." Zachila, or he said, "Be zeichen it for her." V'skabala, or he said, "Accept it for her." Ratzalachsa lo yasa, then he can't take it back. Right? Why? Because he in there he said it. He said in all those terminologies, including haylech. That's as if he said be zeichen. Rav Nosson says no. Haylech v'senla. If he says take it and give it to her, ratzalachsa lachsa. It's ratzalachsa yasa. If he wants to go back, then he could go back. Zachila v'skabala. If he said be zeichen and be makabelit, ratzalachsa lo yasa. If he wants to take it back, he cannot take it back. Rebbe says bekulan im ratzalachsa lo yasa. If he wants to go back, he should not go back. But if he said to him, I don't want you to makabel it, ela haylech fitzenla, just take it and give it to her. If he wants to go back, he could go back. So Gemara says, now the last shita seems to be saying the same thing as the first shita. Rebbe Hainu Tanakama. Rebbe is the Tanakama, right? That the haylech is kizachi dami. Like when the husband says, take the get, it's as if you're being zeichen. So Gemara answers, but maybe the last case that Rebbe said was EFshi, that's the Chiddush. That it's coming to teach us Man Tanakama, Rebbe, that who's the Tanakama? It is Rebbe. So really, Rebbe's not saying a different Shita, he's just saying the same Lashon as the Tanakama. Fine. So now the Gemara says, I warned you it's a hard daf here. Yeah. So Ibaylu. Yeah, so they asked the Shaila, Haylech the Rav Nosson. What about bringing it according to? Well, Haylech doesn't really mean bring it. Haylech means take it, right? I think that would be the Taichit. So then, according to Rav Nosson, Kizachi Dami, I love Kizachi Dami. Is it like being Zach or not like being Zach? So Tashma Haimer, Kabul gets el ishti. If a guy says, "Be makabel this get to my wife," I Haylech gets el ishti. Or bring this get to my wife. If he wants to go back, he goes back. And if the wife said, "Be makabel and get for me," then once the get gets to her, he cannot be chayzer on Tom Beis. Now, my love behelach is it not talking about what he said? This is your get. But Rav Nosson, it's going to Rav Nosson. The Gemara answers, "Loi b'haylech for Rebbe." It's talking about haylech, not haylech, right? Take it to her, right? We had this yesterday's daf also, the technical dicta point between the word halach and haylach, right? Haylach means take it to her, and that's shitas Rebbe. So we don't know what Reb Nosson would hold. Fine. So Tashema, Fikach, and Marmele Abal. If the husband says to the wife, "Efsha," if the husband, sorry, not to the wife, to the shliach. I don't want you being makabel to get from my wife. Take the get and bring it to the wife. If the husband wants to be chayzer, he can be chayzer. The reason is because he said, I don't want you taking the get on behalf of my wife. But if he didn't say if he wants to be chayzer, he shouldn't be chayzer. My la behele Rav Nosson. Or again, we're not talking about where he says this is for you and it's going and it's Shita Shem Nasin. So we say Loi, no, B'Hailech v'Rebbe. It's talking about Hailech, and it's going according to Rebbe. Fine. So Tashima, Hailech gets Ishti. A guy says, bring this get to my wife. Ratza Lachsar Yasef. He wants to go back, he can go back. Hailech gets Ishti, but he says, this get is for you to bring to my wife. Ratza Lachsar Lo Yasef. He wants to be Chayzer. He cannot be Chayzer. Man Shamas Leita Amar. Who's the one who said that when he says bring it to my wife, if he wants to be chayzer, he can be chayzer. I'm not saying it's according to Rasim, right? And when he says by halach ratza lafser lo yafser, then he can't change his mind. Shmami no halach is afidami. So we see from this that the word halach is like saying be zoichin it for my wife. Shmami no. So then we say that's taka. We can say that brisa is a proof that it's going to. That halach is kazach. Fine. So now the Gemara goes weiter about what's the story with Hiskabel. Itmar Hiskabel ligiti, right? She said, "Get for me." The Ishtcha Amra Hiskabel ligiti, and the guy, the shliach, does exactly what he's told to do. Right? He said, "Hiskabel ligiti." Who Aymar, and the husband says, "Hailach v'tenla." Take it and give it to her. Right? What happened here basically is this guy became his shliach and her shliach. The chaletzes, and then she's going to need chalitza. Now, where's chalitza coming out of left field here? So now this throws another wrench into it. No, because what happened is that this guy, the Gemara is now asking that this guy became a shliach for both of them. Again, the wife says to him, go be makabel my get, right? And he goes to the husband, says that, and then the husband says, no, I'll give you the get, bring it to her. You're not going to be the one to be makabel it.
Doesn't the husband have to have somebody who's like him to be makabel it?
Well, yesterday we said we don't need that. It could be a woman or a man.
How does the husband have the power?
Now what happened? That's exactly what the Gemara is asking. She made him a shliach, and now he made him a shliach. So the Gemara is saying it doesn't work. Nasa shlucha shlucha. This guy's he's a double agent.
The second he gets it, he should be divorced.
I don't know if this is called a double agent like that, like a backhanded in that, but for chaletzes. And she needs chalitza, meaning if they died without kids, the get is not, basically, I don't know why the Gemara is saying it, the chaletzes, but basically the Gemara is saying that the get is not a good get. Right? The memra, so the Gemara says the Mesapka le Rav. Did we say that there's a suffix to Rav I haylach kazachi dami ilah kazachi dami? Whether haylach is kazachi or not, because he said haylach. If a guy tells a shliach, take 100 and give it to Pliny because I owe him money, right? Amar Rav said chayev achrayusa. Who's chayev in the achrayus? The sender is chayev in the achrayus. Meaning, if something happened but the money never made it to its intended target, right? So whose achrayus is it? It's the one who sent him, right? Yeah, because who said that this guy should be his shliach? But if the guy wants to call back the shliach and say, I want the money back, that doesn't work. So what do you see? That Lefi Rav, that haylach is kazachi, right? That's why the guy can't go back. Well, it says hasam suffik mamayna lakula. There you can't say there. It's a suffik mammon. Anytime you have a suffik mammon, we go lakula hacha. But here, right? Suffik isura lachumra. We're talking about a suffik issa, meaning there's mammonis. So in a mammonis, you're always going to go lakula. Here, it's mamash. We're talking about
who's the kula for?
What?
That's a funny lashon. Who's the kula for? There's two balei dinim here. What does that mean, the kula? If it's a kula for you, it's not a kula for me. I'm saying each one it's gonna be when you say it's a kula to who?
Well, it's gonna be Amatz Mechavel Varaya, right?
Why does the bar use a lashon the kula? And why does the bar say Amatz Mechavel? It's in a third party. What do you mean Amatz Mechavel Varaya?
Right. So I thought
you're being mitzvah from who?
I hear. It's a good point. I think the lakula is it's going on the one who's trying to taina on the money. I mean,
But
I'm
nobody's
sorry,
holding
him,
the
it's a
money right
chumrah.
now.
The
It's a
guy,
third
we go
party.
lakula on the guy being tainted on.
Why is it a cool mitzvah? What about the other person?
Because I guess for him, he's the one that's on the hook right now. He's the one that's being tainted on. I guess. But I'm not sure. Anyways, but here, Safik Yisur L'chumra. We're talking about a Safik Yisur L'chumra. Fine. So Amar Rav, any isha is a shliach l'kabel lagita. An isha cannot make a shliach to l'kabel get miyad shliach paila. We had this way back in the beginning of the chapter. A woman, meaning the husband makes the shliach to bring the woman to get. The woman says, I'm not going to the get. I'm not going to the get. I'm going to send the shliach. We said it doesn't work. Reb Chanina Amar isha is a shliach l'kabel laget. A woman can make a shliach to be l'kabel get miyad shliach paila from the shliach from Rav. So we're having a machlokes whether the woman is allowed to make a shliach to go get the get from the husband's shliach. Now, why can't she make a shliach? My time of the Rav. Why does Rav hold you can't make it? Which we didn't understand this way back when, whatever this was, when we had in the beginning of the Septa. And I don't understand it now. But that seems to be on par for this daf. It's a bizayin for the Baal. Why? Because it's pasnish for her to send the shliach. The husband sent the shliach, she has to go herself. She cannot send a shliach. It's pasnished for the.
She doesn't want to get. He wants to give it a get. He has all the say. She has to bow down and say, yeah, he has to take the get. I'm taking the get.
Yeah, so meaning he gets so ticked off that she's not willing to come herself to get the get. She can't be bothered, let's say. So he's chayzer on the get. That's what Rav is saying. I don't understand it, but okay. Why is he allowed to send a shliach and she can't?
He's chayzer? What do you mean he's chayzer?
Yeah, he says, I don't want the get to be a get.
What, if she sends a shliach?
Yeah, basically we look at it. How else does it not work?
He got himself, he rescinded the get, Zev.
In his mind, if he would know that his shliach didn't give it directly to the woman, but he gave it to the woman's shliach, the husband would say, forget it, I'm not divorcing her. Right? That's one shot.
If anything, if he was mavoish, he'll say, I'm going to divorce you. And
I know. I'm saying I don't understand. I don't understand it. Iba is saying, or another pshat mishum chatzera habala acha mikain. It's talking about we're talking about a gezerah for this weird case of the chatzar that comes after the get. This is talking about a case where we know that the man doesn't have to necessarily put the get into the wife's hands. He could take the get and put it into his wife's chutzner. But let's say his wife doesn't have a chutzner. So he goes and he throws it into a friend's chutzner, and then he says to the wife, be kind of this chutzner, meaning buy the chutzner from the friend. When you buy the chutzner from the friend, you're getting a bonus, you're getting a get. So since we don't want that, because that doesn't work, so we're afraid that if she sends a shliach, then you might learn from that, so then that's no good. So my benayu, what's the practical difference between the two shitas? The kodmei, the shavi shliach meikara. Let's say she did it first. She went and made a guy a shliach to be makabel her get. Then the husband went. And made the get. Right. So according to the second shot, that was exer because of being kind of the chotzer and then be kind of the get. So that's not an issue because she's already made the shliach first. But according to the one that says it's al busha for the husband, then that get still would not be a get, even if she made the shliach first. Okay. Hahu gavra, the shadol agita l'tevis. So a guy sent a get to his wife. Azal shlichut ashkem kiyasem kalisha. That's not for kalisha. That's not kol isha. Okay, I know it's a lot of guys. They say kalisha. They clearly hold that kalisha is one word. It's not right. It's kol isha. So here, the voice of a woman. Here too is for kalisha. That's not what this is referring to, right? Also, shlicha ashkara ki yasuf kalisha. Well, she wasn't singing. She was kneading. She was doing something with the dough. Amar lo. So the shliach said to her, "Hey lachitach, here's your get. Amrulay lehevi biyadcha. You keep it." Meaning, what does that mean? Lehevi biyadcha. You should be the shliach, right? So now again, is a double agent. He's the shliach for the husband. He's the shliach for the wife. If we go with Reb Chanina, Avdi Ba'uvda, then I would say, I would be paskin. Avdi Ba'uvda means I would do the avodah like this, and she would be divorced.
Where's the Nesina in this case? Practically.
Where's the Nesina?
He gives it from one hand to the right hand to the left hand.
I
That
don't
doesn't
know.
make any sense. That's not chal.
No, that
There's no
can't be.
mice in
Right?
the
That
scene.
can't be.
It's not a
Right,
mice.
So maybe he puts it down on the table and then he picks it up from the table.
Well, let's
That's
see how
not
the
in the
Gemara
scene
goes.
either.
Okay,
Why?
right.
That
So
would
he's
not work either. Halachically, that doesn't work. If you put it down and then she picks it up.
Isn't it with her speech and with her das when he came over to her?
what do you mean? He said to her, he said, here's your get. She said to him, I don't want it. You hold on to it, meaning you take it for me.
Right.
Right?
So now she has das.
Now she has das that what? That he should be the shliach.
That it was sent, yes.
Yeah, but Akiva's asking, how does it work?
You need a venasam biyada. There's no venasam biyada. No
Right.
mice in the scene.
Right. But okay, let's see first, because he didn't paskin in Lamais. He said, if I would go like Reb Chanina, that's what I would say. So Amalei Rava, so Rava said to him, Isal Reb Chanina, if you would taka over Reb Chanina, Avadata Ba'uvda, would you taka paskin that way? Halay Chazar Shlichus Eitzel Labal. Right? He has a different kasha than Akiva. He's saying that this is not a shlichus that goes back to the Baal, meaning it's a din shlichus, which is another thing that I don't have such clarity on. That a shliach, when you make a shliach, he has to be able to come back to the mishaleach, to the sender, and send it, tell him, like, I did your shlichus. Right here, he can't say he did the shlichus because he became the shliach of the wife. Right? So that's not a valid shlichus. Maybe because he became a double agent. In the middle, he became a double shliach. Right? Therefore, he never finished off the shlichus from the husband. Right? So then they didn't know what to do. So Shalchu come like lekamed Rav Ami. They sent the shayla to Rav Ami Shalach lahu, and he sent to them loy chazra shlichus eitzel abal. We take a hold this that if the shliach cannot kick back to the husband, then the shlichus is considered null and void. I'm going to think about it. Right? So then they went and they sent it back to Rav Chia bar Abba. Amar, he said, Kol hani shalchulav azli. Why do you keep sending me this? Right? The same way you guys are mesupik, so too, I'm also mesupik. Right? So then the Gemara finishes and says, "Abi davar sheba erva." The davar sheba erva that says it's a davar sheba erva, and since it's a davar sheba erva, then she has to do chalitza. Meaning, if the husband dies without kids, then we have to say that it's not a get. We're mesupik whether this get works. So therefore, again, the Gemara is saying instead of just saying it's not a get, it's saying that she needs chalitza. Meaning, the point is, it's still a suffix because obviously the reason why the Gemara is saying is because it's saying that it's a suffix get. Because if it was a vade not a get, then she could do yibum. Not she, but she could have yibum. The point is that you can't do yibum because it's a suffix, so it's chaletzes, right? So Gemara just for whatever reason doesn't want to just call it a suffix get. Have a uvda. Then they had another case like this. Rabbi Yitzchak bar Shmuel bar Maser get the chalitza, and Rabbi Yitzchak bar Shmuel bar Maser he required a get and chalitza, right? He had to do both. So Gemara says, Tarti, you need two. Right? If you gave another get, then what do you need chalitza for? So the Gemara says, get mechayim. If, meaning it didn't mean that she's doing both. If her husband is alive and she wants to get remarried, she needs a get. And if the husband died and now she wants to get remarried, then she's going to need chalitza. Doesn't mean she needs to have both. It's just dependent on the situation. There was a lady whose name was Nefasa. Now the rest of the daf gets easier. So a lady was called, there we go, right? There was a lady called Nifasa. Azul Sadi, and then the Adam went, Kasav Tifasa. They didn't call her Nifasa in the get, they called her Tifasa. Also Adam Shlichusan, they did their Shlichus, right? And meaning they wrote the get. Now they botched it because they wrote the wrong name. So the get is not a good get. But the Gemara is saying they already did their shlichus, and therefore they cannot go write another get. They have to go back to the husband. Husband has to appoint them to be shluchim again because the Maisa was over, even though they messed up the Maisa, but they need to do it again. So the Gemara asks,
yeah, but they weren't a shliach for what the husband wanted.
Correct. That's exactly what was kasha. So Maskul Rabba, Bikamalu Subu chaspa of a havula. Did the husband tell these Adam here? Right. Chaspa means a piece of earthenware. Whenever the Gemara wants to say that a get is like puzzle, it calls it chaspa ba'alma. Like it's just stam writing on earthenware. So what did this guy make these guys and aid him to do? To write a fake get, or to write a puzzle get? Of course, they should be able to go back and do the shlichus, right? Yeah, again, Masal Rabba, Mikamalu, Ksubu, Chaspa, Bahavula, give it to her. Eloma Rabba, Vada, Ikosav Sadi Gittin Al Yavad. If the Adam wrote a good get, and then the get got lost, then also Adam Shechus, and then they did the shlichus. Right, so now he's changing it. If they wrote a wrong get, they can go write another get, no problem. If they wrote a proper get and then they lost it, then if they want him to write another get, they have to go make a new shlichus because they did the get. So again, what do you think this husband told him to do? Write a get and then put it into your pocket and lose the get? Of course they didn't do the shlichus. Why do they have to go back and be appointed again? Right? They should be able to just write another get. He disagrees and it says they can write a get and they can give it 100 times. Meaning, if they messed up on the name, then write another one. If they wrote the get and then they lost it, write another one. Whatever, until their get is given properly to the wife, they can write as many gittin as they want, which I think is the way we pass, which is I think the way most of the others would think is the pshat. Fine. The husband said, write a get and give it to my shliach. Right? So then the shliach lost the get. So now sluke salaklu. So that means the Adam are gone. Salak means from salkadaita. They're removed. They did their job. They wrote a get. They gave it to the shliach. They're out of the picture now. Maybe the only reason why they told the Adam to give it to the shliach is because he didn't want to be matriach of them, right? But but really, if the shliach lost it, so then let them write another get. So good. So get another shliach, right? Bring her the get, right? Meaning, who is saying? Why should they have to go write other gittin? Right? So meaning this case a little different because the get was lost by the shliach, not by the original guys, right? So the Gemara is saying, so let the new shliach or the second shliach bring the get to her, right? So what would be the din then? So the Gemara says teku, that's taka teku, fine. The end of the Mishnah, Rosh Gamliel says, "Afay meres toli giti and ratzalas alayas." If she says, "Take my get." So far and throughout the daf, we heard Halech, Haylech, Hiskabel, Have. Rav Shimon Gamliel says if she says Tali Giti, Imratza Lasa Layasa, then he can't go back. Tanarabanan, Tali, if she says take the get from me, Visali, or pick up the get from me, or it should be in your hand for me, Kulan Lashon Kabbalah, they're all Lashonis of Kabbalah, and therefore not Kabbalah, but they're all Lashonis of accepting, and then it's okay. So Shimon Gamliel, then the Mishnah says it doesn't necessarily have to be hiskabli. It could be take, or any form of the word take, and that would mean that the shliach he cannot back out from that. Okay, we'll stop here. I hope it was semi-understandable. Some daf you just got to go. You just got to push it through, and that's it. So, anyways, fine. Avi, the neshama aliyah. Good. All right.
Good enough.
Okay. Good enough, everybody. Tag is up. Okay, I'm going to try and chop my.
Shkoyach.
Okay. Bye bye.